Welcome to Amazing World Channel.
Theresa May's hope of a breakthrough in Brexit negotiations were dashed today after a top Brussels official warned not enough progress had been made to switch to trade talks. Speaking after a crunch meeting with the Prime Minister in Downing Street, EU Council President Donald Tusk said Britain needed to deliver on EU citizens' rights and Northern Ireland before talks could move on. The Tory leader had hoped a Florence speech last week would end the standoff and allow negotiations on the future relationship to start in October. But Mr. Tusk, describing Brexit as an exercise in damage control, said outside Number 10, "I feel now we will discuss our future relations with the UK once there is so-called sufficient progress. Brexit to stop the two sides are working, and we will work hard at it. But if you ask me, and if today member states ask me, I would say there is no sufficient progress yet. But we will work." He also slapped down Boris Johnson after the Foreign Secretary previously insisted Britain could have its cake and eat it. Mr. Tusk said, "I feel cautiously optimistic about the constructive and more realistic tone in the Prime Minister's speech in Florence and of our discussion today. This shows that the philosophy of having a cake and eating it is finally at an end, at least I hope so. That's good news." Reuters Mrs. May said, "I set out in my speech last week in Florence the hope for working together to that deep and special partnership I think we want to create with the European Union once we leave the European Union, and the commitment we have to looking for a really good economic partnership. I think that by being creative in the ways that we approach these issues we can find solutions that work both for the remaining 27, but also for the UK, and maintain that cooperation and partnership between the UK and the EU." The fourth round of talks between EU and UK negotiating teams ends tomorrow in Brussels, amid mounting pressure on the sides to agree a pact on citizens' rights, Britain's divorce bill and the Northern Ireland border. Jeremy Corbyn, who was a fierce critic of the EU before becoming Labour leader in 2015, and was heavily criticised over his performance during last year's referendum campaign, today said there were positives from quitting the bloc. Reuters he told 5 News I wouldn't go so far as to say that it is all going to be positive. It is going to be difficult and complicated. But there are positives there. London's Labour Mayor Sadiq Khan outlined how it would be possible for Labour to have a second referendum on Britain's EU membership. But it was unclear whether the former minister was suggesting a second Inet poll or a vote on the final Brexit deal. Meanwhile, French President Emmanuel Macron unveiled plans for closer Eurozone cooperation, greater unity on defence, immigration, policing and border security.